Greetings, everybody! Welcome once more to Dracovin Empire. Are you ready to dive into the world of darkness? It is I, your host and guide to this world, Cantus Naravan Dracovin, your lord and emperor here at the Empire, and I'm ready to take you to the world of Changeling the Dreaming. Yes, we're going to be diving in and learning about another Kithain. And if you are ready to join me on such a journey, grab my hand. But before you do, please make sure to tip me by, of course, doing the various things we do on YouTube. And that is, of course, making sure, if you aren't, you are subscribed over the YouTube side of things. It helps out a lot. Make sure you get the videos and stuff like that. Make sure you do like, ring the bell, all those various things. And, of course, let me know in the comments, have you experienced or played or were interested in playing, after we talk about our topic, the Wolpertinger, our Kithain for the day. All right, let's get going. The world of darkness awaits. We arrive once more to learn about the Wolpertinger, which is an interesting one because it's existed, but yes, it hasn't before C20. C20 made it a thing. What do I mean by that? Let's find out about it. And of course, that does mean our main source for today is the C20, the 20th anniversary Changeling book. It's going to give you this basic information. We're kind of playing one, which I'm kind of going to go over today, but there's a little bit of detail here and there that we won't be going over. We'll dive into it. All right. Hello to our friend, the Wolpertinger. They're originally German, but also not German. We'll talk about that. And they're a Gallian Fae. That's the biggest, easiest way to describe them. But they weren't always Fae. I think that's the most interesting aspect of them when we talk about them, is because they are beings that are not new to the dreaming, but are new to Kithain society. Because, unlike a lot of Fae we known about, until the Resurgence, they were just a bunch of Chimera, birthed of the dreams of mysterious unknown creatures in inaccessible wilderness. Yes, and as a little bit of a background, if you're unsure what Chimera are, I know plenty of you probably do, but if you're popping in new to this video or haven't dived into the depths other than the Kithain I've been doing, they're basically Chimera objects animated or animate or inanimate from the dreaming, made of the essence of dreaming. They're things that really aren't sentient creatures necessarily. So they were Chimera, kind of semi-sentient things, and now they are sentient. Yeah. Basically, they were these dreams of the hidden creatures, and the original versions of them that came into being started in Germany. But the myths and versions of unusual creatures have been throughout the world, so various Wolpertinger have appeared throughout the world. You think of things like jackalopes in the United States, or skavadar in Sweden. These are beings that are like animals of mysterious natures, and yeah, that's why, yes, the first ones appeared in Germany, so they're kind of called German, but again, they are technically global as their birth as a Kithain kind of happened. In fact, when they were chimeras, they were pests hunted by the other Kithain, because they tended to nest in freeholds and technically tended to cause the doom and destruction of freeholds. Yeah, they were kind of really were pests. But with the glamour of the Resurgence, it fortified the dream of these creatures, and they became Kith. Yeah. Now, a Wolpertinger believes that their ascension to Kithhood came with some kind of great sacrifice, but they can't remember it. It's like one of those things that's like, yeah, something terrible happened that helped us become what we are now. We're just not sure what that is. It's something. Something happened. And so now, as a, honestly speaking, very new Kithain, they're trying to find their place in the world. This is 1960s, 1970s. They were born. They're, in comparison to many of the dreams of old, yeah, they are incredibly new. And they do have a problem that they can't really stay in places too long, because they can still damage freeholds. We'll talk about that. It is unfortunately part of their frailty, which means that they have a harder time now fitting in to Kithain society. another picture of an older edition, more the Chimera version of them. So they're hybrid creatures. Usually they have things like the hind legs of a rabbit, wings of a hawk, antlers of an elk, or combinations of animals that are known. They do prefer, and this is of course in their Kith form. They prefer professions that keep them close to nature, biologists, ecologists, park rangers. That's the little bit we know about them as they're established. Now, again, they don't have a deep and ridiculous history. They're like, you know, brain work, thank you very much. They're like 50 years old. Turning on 60. They don't have a lot of history. They're new. So, it's one of those things that you kind of have to realize when we talk about them. So, we will talk about their birthrights and their frailty here, because those are very good places to look at their abilities. Now, they were Chimera, and Chimera are drawn to glamour because they are essences of glamour, creatures of glamour. It draws them in. So, as Chimera, they were fearsome and competitive over that. So they developed a method of quickly consuming as much glamour as possible. So when a Wolpertinger gains glamour from a freehold, they gain additional point. They're voracious grazing. They also happen to be prey creatures, so they got prey alertness as their other birthright. They were prey animals hunted for their glamour, so they needed a keen situational awareness. So if you try to sneak up or surprise one of them, it's a little harder. They automatically fail to do that mundanely, and through magical means, it's a little bit more difficult. But then comes to their frailty, which is another reason that they're having a harder time. Unquenchable appetite. It was a survival method when they were little prey creatures that were like these semi-conscious beings created of glamour, aka Chimera. And now, when they take glamour from a freehold, they do it faster than the balefire can replenish itself. For every week they spend in a freehold, the freehold's rating is reduced to 1. If they leave it before it reduces to 0, the freehold gains its rating at 1 point per week. Yeah, they can't stay in places long. If they stop by a freehold to regain their glamour, can't stay there long, or they'll drain it away fairly rapidly. Anyway, there's the Wolpertinger. Wolpertinger. Wolpertinger? I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I've ever gotten their name correct. They're fascinating because they are new. I think that's the easiest way to say it. They're fascinating because they are new. They have been just birthed into existence. Yeah, and you may say, oh, well, like nearly 60 years, that's quite a while. Is it? When we talk about many of the Kith and Kithain are thousands of years old, or at very least hundreds of years, certainly one that technically existed but is now a Kithain, is fascinating. Yeah, the Resurgence basically took this little chimera, made it into a higher being. Birthed it. And now they've got to figure out their way. Now they have to adapt. I'm curious if they originally, as a being created in the Resurgence, came into existence within the Changeling way, or were forced to quickly adapt the Changeling way once they were birthed. And they don't talk about that. That's one of those interesting thoughts that I'm having, because the Changeling way was taken on, but it changes the nature of changelings. So, or Kith and Kithain. So, was that something that, because the nature had already changed, they didn't have to adapt to? I don't know if there's an answer for that one. That's an interesting thought I have, that I don't think the books handle. Came to mind here. Came to mind while live. But, you know, it does make this fascinating idea of these little pests that were hunted at most, and now they're a cousin. What the hell do you do with that? A weird day. It'd be as us kind of like hanging around, and all of a sudden, like, a squirrel picked out a monocle and was like, "Greetings! I have gained sentience now, and as intelligent as you, and learned your language quite quickly and rapidly. I would like to be allowed to build my household within your trees nearby." Not me. Maybe that is actually pretty apt, the idea of it. But it is a fascinating thing, the Wolpertinger. So, I hope you enjoyed learning all about them. Check out the rest of my stuff, whether live on Twitch, over on YouTube. YouTube, hey, told you what you have to do to get over there. Remember to do it. Remember those comments. That's important. Let me know what you think about these. And some of those questions, what you think are the theories behind what this sudden evolution in a time period that already exists, what the hell this means for Kithain. They are seemingly one of the youngest Kithain that exists, if not the youngest. I'm curious what you think. Remember, check out Twitch. I play video games, hang with friends, and record videos like this. I have live plays, Fall of Advents for Wednesdays at 8. Discussing tabletop Saturdays at 6, where we talk about news of the week. Check out my social media for updates and schedule. Discord's best. Alright. Thanks everything. I think it's everything. Till the next time we dive into the world of darkness or something else tabletop related, I bid all of you out there a deep and wonderful farewell.